back. We're diving into something super important today, something that, could feel a little daunting, especially for freelancers. It's retirement planning.
Yeah, it's one of those things people put off, but for freelancers, it's extra tricky because you don't have that traditional, employer-sponsored plan.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's all on you. And let's be real, freelance income. Well, it's not exactly the picture of consistency.
It can be feast or famine, right?
Totally. So we're going to break down how to build a retirement plan that can actually thrive in that kind of unpredictable environment.
Absolutely. And the first thing to remember is that even though it feels complicated, you absolutely can do this. You just have to be, a little more proactive about it.
Okay. So proactive. What does that look like?
Well, it starts with really understanding what you want your retirement to look like.
Okay. So picturing your dream retirement.
Yeah, exactly. But then turning that picture into concrete financial goals. How much money will you actually need to live the way you want?
Right. Travel, hobbies, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess your expenses are going to be different in retirement than they are now, right?
For sure. You might not have a mortgage anymore, but maybe you'll be spending more on healthcare.
True. So figuring out those expenses is step one.
It's a huge part of it. Then you got to create a budget that you can actually stick to, even with those freelance income swings.
Which I imagine is a lot easier said than done.
It can be. But once you've got your goals and your budget, the next step is figuring out where to save.
So we're talking retirement savings plans. And I know there are a bunch of different options out there. Which ones make the most sense for, the average freelancer?
There are a few that are particularly freelancer friendly. So let's start with the solo 401k. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I have. I think I read something about it being a powerful tool for freelancers.
It really can be. It's basically like having a 401k that you manage yourself. You contribute both as an employee and an employee.
Wait, both? So you're double dipping on contributions?
In a way, yes. Which means you can potentially save a lot more than you could with, say, a traditional IRA.
Wow. That sounds amazing, but I'm guessing it's a little more complicated to set up than a regular IRA, right?
It does require a bit more legwork. So, if you're really comfortable managing your own investments and you're making a decent income, it could be a great option.
Makes sense. Now, I've also heard of SEP IRAs. How do those work?
SEP IRA. Those are super popular with freelancers because they're so easy to set up and manage. It's just like a straightforward way to sock away a chunk of your self-employment income.
Okay, so maybe better for the busy freelancer who doesn't want to spend a ton of time on paperwork and, all that stuff.
Exactly. Plus, you can contribute a pretty significant percentage of your net earnings.
That's good. But what about those of us who are maybe a little, more familiar with traditional and Roth IRAs? Can freelancers still use those?
Oh, absolutely. Don't discount them. They've still got a place in a freelancer's retirement plan.
But I always get confused about the difference between the two. Traditional versus Roth. Can you break it down for us?
Sure. So the main difference comes down to taxes. With a traditional IRA, the money you put in isn't taxed until you take it out in retirement.
So you're saving on taxes now. Got it.
Exactly. But with a Roth IRA, you pay taxes up front on the money you contribute, and then all those earnings in retirement, totally tax-free.
Okay, so it's kind of like choosing whether you want to pay taxes now or later.
Kind of, yeah. The best choice really depends on your individual situation, like what tax bracket you're in now versus what you think you'll be in during retirement. It's kind of like a long-term puzzle.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a tough decision.
It can be. But either way, both Roth and traditional IRAs can be super helpful tools for freelancers, even if they have lower contribution limits than, say, a solo 401k.
Right. So we've talked about a bunch of different savings plans, but I know there's more to retirement planning than just, putting money away. Right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Think about it like building a house. You wouldn't just build the walls and call it a day.
You need a strong foundation.
Yep. And in retirement planning, that foundation is diversification.
Yes. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. You want to spread your investments across different asset classes, like stocks, bonds, maybe even some real estate.
Yeah.
That way, if one area of the market takes a hit, you're not completely wiped out.
Makes sense. So diversification is key. Anything else freelancers should keep in mind?
One more really important thing is to stay informed. Tax laws change all the time, regulations get updated, and your own financial situation and goals might shift over the years too, right?
So it's not just a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Definitely not. It's more like, you build your retirement plan and then you got to keep doing those regular checkups and make adjustments as needed.
Like going to the financial doctor.
Exactly. So, don't be afraid to consult with a financial advisor if you need help navigating all the complexities.
That's great advice. So as we wrap things up here, what's the key takeaway for our listeners who are, freelancing their way through life? What should they be thinking about as they, consider their own retirement planning journey?
I think the biggest thing is to just get started, Even if you can only contribute a small amount at first, just start saving something.
Yeah, I like that. Start small, be consistent, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
And remember, you're not alone in this. There are tons of resources out there specifically for freelancers. So, do some research, explore those different retirement plan options, and figure out which one's going to be the best fit for you.
Awesome. Thanks for breaking all of that down. So for our listeners out there, I would leave you with this question. You've heard about all these different retirement savings options, the solo 401k, the SEP IRA, the traditional and Roth IRAs. Which one right now, based on where you are in your freelance journey, sounds the most appealing to you, and why? Take some time to think about it, do a little research, and make a plan that empowers your future. Because trust me, your future self will thank you.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And that's a wrap for today's deep dive. We'll catch you next time.